Hello everyone, my name is River Stump and welcome back to another speed build in the light of the horse pack coming just next week, I believe it is. We are going to be building a horse barn. So I am so excited for this. I don't think anyone understands how excited I am. I've ridden horses my whole life, so pumped to get this pack. Which I honestly never thought we would. So if you're excited, come join me in building a horse barn. I wanted to go with a very traditional kind of peaked roof with both slants on either side, so you can see me kind of figuring that out, and I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. So stick with me to find out how it looks. I did want to go with like a red and green and white theme, so you'll kind of see me trying to stick with that. I wanted barn doors, didn't realize we have pet doors in the game. So yeah, all the barn door looking ones are little pet doors, so scrap that idea. I ended up going with like a little open archway, which is perfectly fine. Once I do get the pack, which I have already pre-ordered, I will be doing an actual barn, so very excited for that. I really wanted like a window with shutters, but I didn't really like the colors that these were, so I'm just kind of trying to find one that works. Like I said, I wanted to go with that red, green, and white kind of color palette. So I actually ended up changing the roof to a green color because I thought we were going to go with red windows and I didn't want there to be too much red. I did end up picking the cottage living windows. You can see me kind of going through all of them, but it was just the one that fit the best. I don't know, I kind of liked the way the wires looked on it with the shutters. I also found this cute little, it's a window, but I'm gonna pretend it's a door that kind of goes out into like a stalled area versus like an outdoor area for the horses. So I put all those in. Obviously I know it's not functional, but that's okay. This horse barn isn't functional right now. So we're just gonna use our imagination and make the most of it. So I'm drawing in what I'm hoping the stalls will be with some half walls and just kind of boxing them off. I want a pretty good size. I wasn't sure kind of how big I should make it, but I think it's an okay size. And I also wanted a little like tack, kind of like food prep area in the back. I was also playing around with the idea of like a wash stall indoors, but I really couldn't find anything to fit that. So I decided against it. And then I found this cute little fence gate and I thought that's pretty perfect because it has like doors, but it also has like a cute little barn arch. So I was trying to figure out how to make it work with the walls and no fencing. So I actually ended up putting an archway and then walling it off and putting it in front like that. I know it's not the best, but I think it looks all right and I like it. So you know what, it's fine. And I did it on the back side as well and changed that arch around so it actually matched better. But I am just dying to get in this pack and start building with it. And I would love to see your guys' creations when you guys start building with it. So I made a little loft area to store some hay and just stuff that the horses need that we can't just have laying around the barn all the time. And then I wanted a little fence gate for the area, so I decided to just make it fences, seeing how it doesn't fit without the fences. And I was trying to figure out the color I wanted to go with, and I like that wall so much better without those two little spots in the middle, but it just wasn't working without it, unfortunately. So they stay. I hope that doesn't annoy you, but that's just how it is. And the door just wasn't seeming to fit right, so I ended up boxing in all the stalls, and then I used this door, but I do go back and swap it out for this metal one. I just think it looks nicer. You can actually see the horses, they can kind of peek on over, and I know those little pointy tops aren't the best idea to have around horses, but you know what, that's okay. It's make-believe, and I'm sure your horse won't hurt themselves in the barn. So for the wall color color. I wanted to go with a wooden paneled wall to match the outside of the barn. Which I was looking for, and then I decided maybe we should pick some lights so I can actually see what I'm doing on the inside. So I kind of played around with trying to put some on the stalls, raising them up, seeing how it would look, and I actually found one that I could raise up inside the walls that looked pretty decent. So I did that and then swapped it out later for actually a different one, and then just, you know what, I scrapped it completely. I'll be honest with you. It just wasn't working with what I wanted. So enjoy watching me play around with some lights that I am going to get rid of. I also didn't know that you could hide the lights completely and still have it light up. So there's lights in all of those and you can't see them, but it still provides a really nice light, which I thought was really handy until I went to go actually add some like posts to it. But like I said, you'll see that again in a minute. I used some sand for the stalls, and then I actually used a metal flooring with some texture to kind of pretend it was like a rubber mat, because you don't want the horses slipping and falling on their ways to and from the stall. And then where there isn't rubber mats, I just put a concrete kind of tiled floor, I guess. And here's where I kind of go back to the lights, because you know what, those lights just aren't enough. We need some alleyway lights. So I did end up picking just like this hanging light to go down the middle, and I went with white. I don't know why I'm torturing myself doing it in this angle, but I do go back from above and switch it around to make sure everything fits properly and is perfectly aligned. I didn't really want to go with that metal one, but it just didn't fit the vibe, so I switched it around, and now that I can actually see it, I put some white panels. I figured red would just be too much color. I then added some nice fresh green hay to the stalls, and then a little kind of overflow area just in case you run out, so you can just quickly grab a bale and give it to the horses. And then I decided, you know what, this is a good area for a kitchen. So the garbage can is actually like a grain pail bucket. So just pretending that they store grain in those, so you can scoop them out on the counter with those little scoops, and then just prepare it for your horse. So I put a little garbage can, a little fridge, just in case they need to store any like minerals or stuff like that. And then I also added a dog bowl, because I figured you would have some type of farm animal, whether it's cats or dogs. So I just kind of put that in there, so you can use it if you want. And I also put some bottles up top, just to pretend, like I said, they're like oils or minerals or whatnot. And obviously I made sure that they weren't floating, but it was definitely giving me a run for my money. So I did eventually end up placing them correctly, moved the counter back, and we are in business. I was looking for some more clutter items that I thought could be cute. I got a little drawn horse painting and just some fun little ribbons and stuff like that I figured that they could have won at a contest. And yeah, now that I am doing this, I see the hose. I was looking for hours for that hose and I could not find it. So it's hilarious that now it's there. I also added some fans above the stalls just to keep the horses nice and cool in the hot summer months. And of course, changed them to red to fit our little theme. And I think it's looking really, really good. I also wanted a water pail for the horses. So I searched up like bucket, and it took me to Debug, where I scrolled through for a little bit trying to find stuff. I ended up finding these stall signs, which I thought was really cute. So I rotated around them just to make sure they weren't all the same, and kind of pretended like they were a little name template for the horses. So I thought it was a cute little touch that each horse kind of got their own little name by their stall door, and I got rid of that mud pile because no one wants that. And here I am looking for the water bucket again. I ended up finding this smaller one. I sized it up. I was gonna try and like hang it from the stall door, but you can see it's floating. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just put it down, but it was looking really small in comparison to the other things. So I ended up using this bucket sized up, and then I turned the rope to face the wall just so it's kind of like a big water pail, and I put it in green to match that red, white, and green theme because we were really lacking some green in there. But yeah, I think they're actually pretty nice, and where they're at the front of the stall, it's convenient to kind of fill them. I also have a little treat jar there for either horses or dogs, and just some random rock piles laying around that I'm sure would have gotten dragged in. I also found these bags of feed for like cats and dogs, but I'm pretending they're grain bags. So I threw a couple of those by the floor, and then just kind of looked for some columns. I really wanted some overhead beams as well. And this is where you can see that light clipping through. I was originally looking for one that it didn't clip through, so I didn't have to get rid of it, but I didn't like how bulky they were. So I just ended up going with these red ones and then just removing the lights. In a minute. You can see me kind of getting rid of all of them, which unfortunately made it darker, but I did add lights to the stalls where the ceiling fans are. So it does lighten it a bit up later, but for right now it's a bit darker. So I added red posts with white kind of going over top, and then I added them to the back of the stall as well, just so we can connect it all around the stall. And I think it's a really cute touch. I don't know. I might actually try and revamp this when the pack does come out and try and use this pack for actual horses, just because I think it's so fun and cute, and obviously we'll need to swap out the door, but that's okay. That wall was being really glitchy and turned black on me, so I had to remove it and then put it back in, which is perfectly fine. I used this fence and went and fenced in where the horses would go outside, just kind of making sure it's all even, and then went back and deleted the floors because you know what, they don't need cement outside. They can eat the grass and play around and have some fun. I wanted to dirty it up a bit, make it look like it was used by horses, so I just used some terrain paint to make it look a little bit more like mucky, and then some sand coming out of the stalls to pretend like they're going in and out a lot and would obviously drag some in and out. I then went around with some dirt and went underneath the fences just to make sure that, you know, the fence line isn't perfect. I also made it a better lighting so we can see better, and then added some more fences to the front of, some more windows to the front of the house. And then of course we need a little pathway going to the front. So I added like this river rock, I think it is, going to the front road. And then I wanted a riding arena. I would have liked to have a paddock, but there just wasn't enough room on this lot. So I added a dirt arena, which I think was really cute. And I also tried to improvise some fences, so you'll see that. I wanted a path that was like very clear that it's going to it being used, but also not a like path that they have manually made. So I added that in, and I was looking for a gate but just decided to get rid of it. So your horse can run away, I guess, but you know what, it's fine. Dressage arenas are even smaller with no entrance, so you know what, it's okay. And then I wanted an outdoor tack, like I said, wash area. I was gonna add a fence to this, but the fence idea did not, or not the fence, the hose idea didn't work because I could not find it. I added the same kind of textured floor, just in a red color where it's outside, and then ended up putting a roof on it so your horse is nice and shaded while they're being tacked up. I think it's pretty nice. I would like it. I accidentally deleted that there. So here's me just adding it back in. And then I do go back and put those columns back in so it isn't just floating back there. But I do also add like a little tie, so you can go and like pretend to tie up your horse. I don't know if they'll have anything like that in the actual pack, but I am so excited to find out if they do. So you can see me kind of going through looking for a little tie. I ended up sizing down this kind of window basket to pretend like you could tie your horse in the middle bars. So there we go, that's what that is. And I also added some bushes around it and just like some overgrown areas because it's not going to be perfect and pristine. So I ended up searching through Debug for a while, but I ended up finding these little plants. It's like overgrown grass, I guess. So I added that in just around kind of the edges where I didn't think horses would be walking necessarily that much, just to kind of symbolize it is a working barn. There is some overgrown grass, and that's fine. It's good for your horses to eat, so you can kind of go out and graze your horses in the long grass, which I think is a kind of cute touch. I've never really I guess decorated like this, but I added some here and there, kind of sized down just to make it not so flat and proper, which I think is pretty cute. Added more around the trees, and I do also go in with another variant, but I don't think that's until the end. So here I am kind of going through. I found this like manure pile, so I went around and added some in the stalls, some outside, just to make it look like it's a functional barn and the horses poop in it, as well as the outdoor arena. They are horses, they'll poop wherever. I was gonna add in a shovel to kind of symbolize like picking up the manure, but I didn't find any that were like upright. And then I went along in the front and added these cute little bushes as well as some flowers, just to make it more welcoming on the inside or on the outside. So when you see it from the front, you can see these cute little bushes and some cute little flowers. And then I also go in and add like little flower boxes to the front and just around the yard. So you can see me kind of placing the random flowers around, and I do kind of go and switch them around, so you can kind of see that they aren't going through like metal flooring. And then I found this tractor, so I threw that in, and I think we're coming up on where I find the metal boxes for out front that I put the plants in. Yep, there it is. Went with a nice red color to help bring out that red in the barn. And then I sized up these and raised them up to put them in, so it's kind of like a planter box instead of just an empty box on the outside. And I wasn't sure if I wanted trees or anything, but I added one in on the front, just to kind of match that overgrown tree area that's kind of matching it. And then I found this like fence that I thought could make a really good jump. So I centered that so you can go around the arena if you don't want to jump, or you can go right down the center if you do. I know they're pretty close together, but this is all the room I was allowed to use. And then I also added some little flowers to the outside, kind of going around, just to kind of fill it in a bit more, I guess. I didn't want it clipping inside, but I still really liked the way it looked, so I sized up and down some plants and just kind of played around with that for a little while, just kind of going around the side where it's a bit empty, where we don't have that extra pen because it's the feed room. But yeah, I hope you like how it's going so far. Like I said, I would love to see your ideas. I would love to see your builds. If you leave your EA account in the comments, I will be happy to go and check it out and just see what you guys build. I think it could be a really fun way to just kind of get into the community and see what you guys are up to. I do go back and switch out those fences eventually. I believe I added just like regular fences, but we will get to that in a minute. I added some hay bales to the upstairs just to fill it in a little bit, and then I added some clutter here and there. I think there's like an extra bucket, there's like some feed, this like garden crop thing, just random stuff that you could see around the farm, but that is now upstairs for storage. I pretended like these were some little treats for horses, even though I believe they're chicken treats. And then here's a little sign that maybe you can put out front. Just some kind of fun decor. What it looks like all finished up. I added some lights upstairs. As you can see, there's some water buckets, a little bench, and I think it's looking adorable. I thought the walls were looking a bit plain, so I actually ended up adding some little red windows to the outside. They weren't lining up correctly, so I just added windows everywhere and deleted them as I went, so it wasn't so many windows. I don't know if this is kind of like a tip anyone else has used, but it really helped me in the placements. But we are finishing up here in the barn. So if you've liked this video, give it a big thumbs up, comment down below your EA account, and if you're excited for the horse pack, feel free to give this video a like, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. And I will 100% be getting the horse pack, so stay tuned for horse content. I'm actually thinking on my Let's Play, we can maybe get some horses if we can ever get enough money. So I think that would be really fun to kind of let them have a little horse barn of their dreams. But we will just have to see what's in store for them. So stay tuned and check out that Let's Play if you haven't already. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye!